Hey, welcome from sunny Florida. My name is Steve Wilkinson. I'm an MBA and certified lean practitioner. I've been in your place, struggling to get a steady flow of improvements and to get teams motivated to accelerate their progress. I'm the founder of Rapid Lean Coach, where I coach teams to make awesome improvements to their workflow and to eliminate waste and the interruptions to the workflow to improve efficiency, productivity, and cycle time. I'm going to show you right now, step by step, how to attack these issues. If this makes sense for your organization, then maybe we can work together to personally coach you at your site or over Zoom. I guarantee that the principles are the same, whether you're manufacturing a product, serving patients on a hospital floor, or running a restaurant. So let's get right into this. Take notes, there'll be a lot, but I'll email you an outline if you stay through to the end of the video. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay, so we're going to talk about eliminating workflow interruptions with a process called observe, analyze, improve. What are your measurable goals? To improve production, efficiency, cycle time, and quality results by 10 to 20% this year? What would be a more effective improvement plan to look like? We need a new and streamlined approach to improvement. We need clear instructions, and this roadmap will do it for you. Repeatable and scalable and achievable. It's 100% achievable using this roadmap. And we need management support. What does management do? They need to engage, help set goals, reinforce, provide resources, and most of all, clear obstacles. That's their responsibility. And we'll take these one at a time. One client, this is important for you to understand, used this new roadmap to eliminate 50,000 annual labor hours at one site and just redeployed those people to where they were needed more on the site. How cool is that? Okay, so this streamlined process for continuous flow of improvements is called observe, analyze, improve, and there's three modules. The first is understanding the 7 wastes that cause workflow interruptions. Why? You have to understand what you're looking for before you can fix it. That makes sense, doesn't it? And the second module is observe, analyze, improve. This is a systematic method of evaluating your process to making improvements. You'd be amazed at how much managers and leaders miss when they walk past their process. And the third module will be countermeasure boards, how to track and attack all the daily issues, workflow interruptions that have come up in the last 24 hours. So we recommend doing this at your daily huddle. As a bonus, remember, everyone who watches the class to the end will get a written outline of this process to use at your site. Okay, so we have an objective of helping to develop powerful, steady flow of improvements that streamline your workflow, whatever the process is. We're going to focus on one thing only. If you're spreading your limited resources across meetings and classes and committees and making lists and one-off trainings and projects, then you're not doing any one thing well. Here, you'll learn to focus on just one thing, the observe, analyze, improve process. And to my industrial engineer, Lean and Six Sigma colleagues, we didn't learn this in school. Many Lean practitioners make it too complex, while Six Sigma projects address just one problem and don't change the culture. We want everyone looking to improve. So let's all learn together. Now, there's two kinds of managers or leaders, or IEs or lean people. The one on the left is like this bird that's waiting by the fishing rod you see there, waiting for someone to reel the fish in for them, to reel in the ideas. Do you wait like this bird, waiting for subordinates to bring you improvement ideas? Or you, like on the right-hand side here, the eagle, where effective managers are going out to the work area and searching for great opportunities. They're not waiting, they go out aggressively and go look for them. And we use this process to do that. You want to lead by example, go out to where the work is being done, and inspire staff to find improvement ideas. Get your own feet wet and learn more at our website, Rapid Lean Coach. Okay, so in the 3 modules, we have understanding and identifying the 7 wastes in the workflow interruptions. We have observe, analyze, improve, and we have countermeasure boards. The red is where you're actually making change. We'll get into this in more detail. So starting with understanding and identifying the 7 wastes. We need to do that because we need to understand what we're looking for before we can fix it. Okay, so we have understanding the 7 wastes is critical to making improvements. You can refer to Bruce Hamilton's video, Toast Kaizen, for a good explanation. You have to understand exactly what it is that you're looking for. You can't just ask for ideas to flow into you. We'll spend a condensed 10 minutes here, but on site, you should have a 2-hour session that changes the way everyone views their work, guaranteed. In a 2-hour on-site session, you should identify at least 30 improvement opportunities just in 2 hours of effort. Usually, you get over 75. I've trained over 1,000 professionals like yourselves to accomplish this. Now, you might ask, how does waste take root to start with? Well, we have leaders who run into all these obstacles, so capacity issues and waiting waste and motion waste, and they have time to kind of put a Band-Aid on, but they don't want to stop and fix the problem. So what they do is they add overtime. They authorize more space. They authorize more equipment and more people. But what we really need to do is understand that now the water level has risen. We need to lower the water level because we have excess resources. Those excess resources are waste and they get in the way of doing the job. So our job is to lower the water level by eliminating the wastes. And we're very effective at doing that. A lot of things are added, resources are added just in case we might need this, we might need that, but we're going to get away from that. Okay, so in the 7 wastes, you got to understand that waste is anything that uses resources like material, labor, capital, or space, but doesn't add value in the eyes of the downstream customer. And that customer might be your external end user, or it might just be the next department downstream where you're sending your sub-assemblies down to the next department. The only activity that actually adds value is when the raw material is being converted into finished product. The following activities don't add any value: excessive transport of materials from one spot to another, inventory in the warehouse or work in process on the floor or on the hospital floor, motion of people walking to get materials, searching for tools, waiting waste. You're familiar with these. You've all experienced this. Waiting of people or machines. Waiting for what? Materials, decisions, machine downtime, and over processing, just doing more than what the downstream customer really wants to pay for, and overproduction because it might not sell. It might become obsolete and you're paying a carrying cost to have it sitting in your warehouse. And of course, defects, doing things over a second time because it wasn't done right the first time. And you can remember these, they're in the order of Tim Wood, T-I-M-W-O-O-D, just a little way of memorizing what those wastes are. Now, this is a very unique slide, and it's not, no one has ever seen this. This is our unique product here. Here we have the 7 wastes listed on the left-hand side: waiting waste, defects, overprocessing. And that's what we need to identify. We need to be able to recognize what those are. And that's what 7 waste training does. Then in the middle column, we have the tools to see and measure waste. You want to know, what is the impact? What is the cost on our process of the workflow interruptions or waste that you do see? And finally, on the right-hand side, we have those lean tools used to eliminate waste. 5S to organize the workplace, visual management to make instructions clear, standard work to identify what is the best way of doing it, the best practice, and then standardize so everyone does it the same way. I like this. Now, moving on to the second module, observe, analyze, improve. This is an aggressive way to systematically hunt for the improvement opportunities. Find those wastes. Now, you're all familiar probably with going to the Gemba. You want to see firsthand out on the floor what's happening. You can't see things from the conference room. You go to the floor where the value is add activities are occurring, the people are working hard, and you gather input from people. You don't rely on what someone told someone told someone. It's required because the workplace is constantly changing from day to day. Operational excellence happens where the work is being done. Here you, on the right-hand side, you have a group of people observing a process, and down below you have someone documenting the observations that they're seeing in their process. Okay. So how did this all start? Okay, a biotech production manager asked me to help his managers learn how to better observe their processes for improvement opportunities in productivity, reducing cycle time, and eliminating the constant irritating workflow interruptions. I developed a process we call Observe, Analyze, Improve, and trained 18 managers how to implement this. We identified and eliminated 50,000 annual labor hours of non-value adding work and interruptions at this one site. This newly available labor was redeployed to where it was needed more in other locations on the site. How cool is that? Okay. We extended this to engineering and quality and warehousing for additional savings by engaging them as partners. Good word, partnering. Okay, here's just a simple visual to point out, observe, analyze. This looks like a fishbone analysis here in the middle, and then using the lean tools to improve. I'm going to help you here in how do you communicate exactly what you're trying to do to upper management, to your peers, and to the hard workers out in the production area. Okay, so this is the elevator speech. Here's what our project is about. We're going to improve leader and staff skill at observing, analyzing, and improving their processes. Learners will be able to see the details when they look at the process. When we look, we don't always see what's going on. Right? It's important because we have competition, cost pressure, safety and quality requirements remain a high priority. And we're committed to developing staff and advancing lean improvements. Success looks like each leader being able to apply the observe, analyze, improve method to understand their processes in greater detail, to uncover improvement opportunities, including latent safety and quality risks. Those are the ones that little alligators out there in the process who haven't risen up and bitten you yet, but they're waiting for an opportunity. Okay, and here's what we need from you, from the leaders. They need to participate in the coaching process and learn the skill and train their team members. Senior leaders will monitor the engagement and acknowledge contributions of the people who are working hard at this. But their most important job of senior managers is to clear the obstacles. They have the resources and the influence to be able to clear a lot of the problems that you encounter when you're trying to make improvements. A key element to achieving improvement at the department level is to be able to both observe your processes and for your staff to understand and identify the opportunities to improve. This training we're watching identifies standard work for observing a process. The goal is for leaders to use this process for daily observation, analysis, and improvement. Now, here's something that's I think is really important. You got to explain to your team and the leaders that this is not a training exercise. Rather, it's a new way to accelerate improvements. It's a new way of doing business. You can develop partnerships with the coaches or trainers, the area managers and staff to continuously improve your processes, to retrieve those golden nuggets that are trapped by the workflow interruptions. Okay, so how do we train a coach? What is the purpose of this training and this material that the coach needs to absorb? And I like to use the word coach rather than manager or leader or director. It's coaching is helping people develop a skill. Okay, so I want you to use this class outline on your own or team up with me for help. Review the messaging to deliver to the impacted employees and leaders. Review the 7 wastes Select a process to observe and partner with the owning manager and area manager. Review the protocol of going to the floor to observe. Bring the appropriate tools to observe and record, and I'll show you those in a second. And observe the process with a trainer, documenting the observations for 7 waste, hard work, latent safety, and quality issues. Back at the office, we take those observations, we sit down and we analyze what we saw. We prioritize them according to their probable benefit level and the difficulty level of implementing that. We use a 9-block diagram for that I'll show you. And continuing, we develop corrective action plans for those improvements that we prioritized, and we include the probable support that's needed, maybe from engineering or HR or from the warehouse. Some corrective actions will be simple. You've got a lot of ideas here. Others will involve the application of lean tools, like on the slide that I showed you a little while ago with the 7 waste, the tools to see and measure waste and the tools to attack. Your industrial engineers or I can help you with that. Document what you found, what you learned, and what you recommend for corrective action. So go through this once and then repeat it a total of 3 times to build the trainer, the coach's proficiency at working this process. And once they understand that and they've done this, then they can train other people. Okay, you have an option to scale across the organization. This leader then repeats the identical multi-step process with a second leader or learner. This qualifies the first individual to really be an observe, analyze, improve coach once they've trained a second person. Okay, so what does the coach do? He applies the learning and experience to multiple processes, keeping in mind, don't just make up lists. Do this in assigned departments or areas with leaders who want to get improved results. Develop additional learners or coaches. Learners can apply the principles to their own process. If the organization chooses to maximize their improvements and speed up the improvement process, then repeat the training process across other departments. Kind of a train the trainer concept. And this is a lot of material, but watch to the end and we'll get out an email of the outline for implementing this. Okay, so how does this basically work? Area leaders want the skill to observe their own process, to analyze the observations made, and to plan improvement actions. The objective is to be self-reliant. Don't always rely on the IEs or the black belts or some manager or some specialist. You want to be self-sufficient. We develop this through a coaching and mentoring process. That's how you scale up. Here's an example of some Gembas where the work's being done. You can see a fairly high-tech, intricate process in the upper left, another production floor down in the bottom left. Look at all the space. Can you imagine all the motion waste of moving materials around on that floor? On the right-hand side, we have a surgery room. Don't you think that doctors and surgical technicians and nurses have these same types of waste, motion waste, looking for the right instrument, waiting waste, waiting for the anesthesia, anesthetist to show up, waiting for things to happen. It happens everywhere, even down in restaurants. We have all these workflow interruptions, and we can apply the observe, analyze, improve in all these situations. So before you go out and start doing your observation, there's some preparation. The new OAI leader, who will be a coach to implement the observe, analyze, improve, perhaps with a consultant. They partner with a requesting functional area manager. The coach and area manager select a target process in the area that needs improvement. You identify the scope and then walk the process to identify the major steps in the process. Agree on why you want to observe this process and exactly what you want to get out of it. Don't just wander around looking at stuff. Consider making a project plan or an A3 if you have someone in your organization that knows about using A3s. It also helps to make a rough process map to use as a guide to know what the next step is that's going to come up, and maybe a place to document some of your observations. You review together the how to observe a process sequence of steps. Go to the floor and record the observations. Identify any of the 7 waste or hard work or latent safety and quality issues that you see. Analyze the observations, looking for trends, and determine the impact, and then prioritize which should be worked on. And we'll use a 9-cell table for that, and I'll show you in a second. Create the appropriate improvement plans, probably using lean tools, but some cases are simple enough you don't need that. So when you go out to the floor to observe, you need to understand why you want to observe this particular process. Are you going out there to learn or understand something? Are you going there to change or improve something specific, to find the root cause of a problem? Why are you going out? What do you expect to get out of the observation? Go to where the work is being done. You can't observe from a conference room, like we said. Ask questions when you get out there. What is the core required value or output that this process contributes to the downstream customer? What are you delivering to the downstream customer? What is the standard or expectation by the internal or external customer? What do they expect from you? Ask the people performing the work and your customers, how are we doing? What can we do to provide a better service to you downstream? How do you find out how the process actually works? You observe the work being done. You want to understand the who, what, when, why, where, how many, what are the metrics? Understand that. That's part of the planning before you actually go out to the floor. Okay. And when you go to the floor, you can ask, why does the process work this way? Do you understand the SOP? Is it clear? Is it ambiguous? Can it be interpreted in different ways? Sometimes SOPs can be very confusing. Ask questions to the people doing the work, and ask questions to the people who design the work, maybe the engineers or managers. Ask, are the performers doing a good job? How would you know? What are the performance measures? Is it cycle time, safety, quality rate? What gets in the way of doing a good job? This is my favorite question to ask out on the production floor or the hospital floor. What are the workflow interrupters that get in the way of doing a good job? Ask the workers. Ask them, what is the hard work that they do? Bending over, repetition. Got to relate to the person doing the hard work. What gets in the way? They have to wait for things. They have to look for things. If they might say, I can never find the spanner wrench. So what you do is you go to Home Depot that night, you buy a spanner wrench, you bring it in and you hand it to that operator the next day. Now you've just made a conduit and a supporter for the observe, analyze, improve process. We have to deliver results to the people who are asking for that help. Keep in mind that you want to be thinking, what is the target condition? Where do we want to get to with our metrics? And what is the actual condition now? This might remind you of kata, for those familiar with that. Okay, in observing, we combine purposeful presence questions on the floor. We're looking for the 7 waste, the hard work, latent safety and quality risk, material reliability, safety and ergonomics. And there's some etiquette before you just rush out onto the floor. Confirm with a manager that it's okay for you to be in the area. Tell the staff why you're there. Don't make them guess or speculate. A lot of people don't like people watching them. So you have to explain what you're doing. Share your notes and your observations with those operators so they feel very comfortable with you and they engage in helping you do the task of identifying the opportunities. Don't interrupt with questions or comments at a time when distracting them from the work isn't appropriate. Some people don't like their picture taken. Follow the safety and compliance rules in the local area. So this is just protocol or etiquette before you go out on the floor. And for participants, in addition to the coach or learner, consider engaging the supportive staff like environmental, safety, quality, engineering, the internal suppliers and customers. Develop a team approach. Team, very important. Okay, when you go out to the floor, you might want to take a process map with you, stopwatch. It's not good enough to ask someone, oh, it takes 10 to 15 minutes to do a task. You need to measure it. This is about being precise so that you build your credibility. It's 11 minutes. It's not 10 to 15. Okay, bring a clipboard to write down your observations, and maybe even a video camera. A lot of teams I've seen, for instance, trying to improve a changeover, shorten a changeover process, will videotape it and then play it back at a conference room with a group of people and study it and see where the opportunities to improve are. Usually it's waiting waste, motion waste, waiting for a machine to heat up or to cool down as examples. Okay. Here's a quick example of an observation sheet. You can make up your own, but it lists the waste that you might be looking for, the hard work. Are you following the right etiquette protocol to go out there? And here's some of the questions to ask to interact with the people out on the floor doing the hard work. What's the purpose of your process? Exactly what are the customer's conditions of satisfaction? How do you know you're satisfying the customer downstream? What are your biggest concerns? So again, you can make up your own, but I can send you this template. Okay. Now the second part of this is the analyze, observe, analyze. You analyze what you observed. What's the impact? Is there a better way? Ask the performers of the work. What wastes are present? Can you apply ECRS? That's eliminate, combine, rearrange, or simplify the tasks. And how do the 4 M's like material, method, machine, man or woman impact the performance? Does the process require hard work, ergonomics, or safety risks? What are the appropriate metrics for this process? They might not be what's being used right now. Maybe should be changed. Evaluate downtime, layout, and skill level. What are the potential failure modes of materials? These are questions that you can ask. What is the actual impact of your observation on our goals? Okay, so we have prioritizing the observations that you might want to improve on. Now, this is the 9-block cell that I mentioned. On the vertical axis, we have how big is the potential benefit, low benefit, medium, or very high benefit. And on the horizontal axis, we have how difficult would it be to implement the improvement, low difficulty, medium, or high. Now, if you visualize numbering your observations from 1 to 10, then for each one, you plot where it is on this graph. Is it low difficulty but high benefit? You want to go after that one. Or is it high difficulty and low benefit? Maybe you don't want to prioritize that one. Okay, but this is how you quantify what you should prioritize. Okay, then we get to the third part here, part 4, but it's the improve process. You want to improve what it is you just prioritized. For the prioritized project, you assign an owner, a due date, and monitor the status. You have to have action plans and monitor how that's going with plan, do, check, act, it's called. Make everything visible so that all the people can engage more easily. Make a big chart, put it on the wall or an easel pad out in the work area. It may be obvious how to implement some of the improvement opportunities, so go ahead and do that. But for many opportunities, it will be appropriate to apply the related lean tools I showed on the earlier slide. Industrial engineers or lean practitioners should be able to help with that. If not, contact me at Rapid Lean Coach and I'll help. Note that we want to recommend that you engage engineering and quality leaders in this program so that they'll partner with you on some of the improvements in a timely manner. It's a team. Remember not to allow doubters to use killer phrases on your improvement ideas, like, if it was such a good idea, we would have done it before. It's not in the budget. The manager will never go for it. Those are all killer phrases, and you need to be alert for those and reverse them, turn them back to the user. Don't allow that. And don't fall into the bureaucratic trap of making long lists of improvements that no one ever executes. You have to get top leadership to buy into your overall effort and to clear those barriers that come up. Now we're going to go to the last phase here, countermeasure boards, where we track the interruptions from the last 24 hours and use lean tools to improve. So you need to have an agenda at your daily meeting, whether it's a daily huddle or some other form of meeting. In that agenda, you have to stick to it. Don't let anyone divert in the conversation away from it. You have to stay focused, be rigorous on that. You may want to have what's called a skew dip board. It's a board, and I'll show you, that documents what safety, quality, delivery, inventory, or productivity problems we had in the last 24 hours. It's either didn't have a problem, so it's green, or you had a problem that you have to address and it's red. Makes it very simple to monitor what's most important today. Then you review the countermeasure board, where you're documenting all the specific issues in the last 24 hours, and then any new items for discussion. But you have to stick to the agenda and don't get sidetracked. Okay, here's a simple example of an Excel version of the countermeasure board. On the left-hand side, it's hard to see, but that's safety, quality, delivery, inventory, and productivity. Then the date of the observation, what the observation was briefly, what you think the next step is for resolving that, who owns it, when are they going to come back and give an update to the team on the status, and does it need to be elevated because it's obvious that it needs more horsepower from someone higher in the organization. Okay, so you can make up your own, but I recommend using something like this on an easel pad. An easel pad that's got this already outlined on it, and just fill it in page by page. Okay, so we want to review this every day in the huddle or daily meeting. Every interruption that lasted, let's say, more than 5 minutes. You can pick your own threshold. Okay? Here we have some examples of these tools. An agenda. This is very specific. It's very large. It's on the wall, and we stick to the agenda. On the right-hand side, we have an example of the skew dip metrics. This is for 1 month at a time, and for safety, quality, delivery, inventory, and productivity, there's 30 or 31 little squares there for each day of the month. And every day we go through and say, okay, for safety, are we green or red? For inventory, are we green or red? Do we have excess inventory in the floor or not? And down at the bottom of this chart, you can see this criteria. How do you determine if it's red or green? What are the specific criteria? That way, managers can walk by, or you can walk by and look at that chart and only look at the red items. You don't need to look at the green items. They're in control. And you focus on asking questions about what happened to turn this red. What are we doing about it? Down in the bottom left-hand corner, we see a member of the team in the daily meeting doing the actual update of the skew dip board. And on the right-hand side, we have the countermeasure board is an example where it's already pre-printed on a chart pad. We implemented 30 improvements off of this, 300 improvements in just a few months at one client. So getting started, okay, I'm sure you got a lot of real value from this amazing video class. You have enough information and concepts now to start on your own. You can email rapidleancoach@gmail.com to get answers to questions. Jot down this email on a piece of paper. I invite you to contact me for a chat to discuss your questions on details, schedule, and costs of taking you through the whole process. And you have 3 choices, I think, right now. Don't call, don't email, and continue getting the same old results and underperformance. You may be satisfied with that. You may not be motivated. The second choice is give me a call, contact me through the email account, and we can decide if you want to pursue my coaching at your site for a week. You would get all the advanced training and develop 1 to 2 coaches all for less than the cost of a manager or engineer for a month. Not bad. Good ROI. Or in our call, you may want to join my online implementation and consulting program through Zoom, whatever you feel is best for you. But we need to understand your situation to see if we're a good fit. Since I only work with a few well-motivated leaders, let's schedule a time for that chat. We'll discuss your situation, see if we're a good fit to eliminate those frustrating delays and interruptions. What would a 5 or 10% improvement be worth to you? Okay. I can answer all your questions at this email that you're going to jot down. And this is also how I know where to email you the course outline that I promised. I need your email. Don't forget to click the subscribe button to access more free improvement video training. And please share the video with your colleagues. That'll help me a lot. It'll help the colleagues. Okay, so what do you get with this? You get step-by-step guide to improvements with the 3 modules: understanding waste, observing, analyze, and improve the countermeasure boards. You get a fantastic 2 to 4 hour training to understand and identify waste and generate 30 to 50 improvement opportunities just to start before we even start the observe, analyze, improve process. Okay, we'll develop 1 or 2 internal coaches for your work area to implement the observe, analyze, improve, and we'll provide the templates for documenting the observations, for prioritizing opportunities, and for the countermeasure board that I suggest to use in the daily huddle. Please click the link in the description below the video here for the contact page so I can send you the course outline. I promise to use to provide for your use at your site. So you can either go through email or go through the website link here to contact me. While you're thinking or pushing the subscribe button, here's some comments from testimonials. Thank you, Steve. Your efforts and dedication to developing and launching Observe, Analyze, Improve have been great. Your initial work has already established a precedent for autonomous improvement in 3 departments here that now have capable of practitioners who are vocal advocates. Vocal advocates. More importantly, this effort is yielding tangible results, including the implementation of the filter cart, tote tubing brace, and other things. Keep up the good work. And from a director, I want to congratulate you on your Excellence in Operations Award. A 36-hour cycle time would not have been achieved without your driving all of the small improvement teams towards completion. And there's more, but we won't get into this. This one is from one of the frontline managers that I coach, and they're doing excellent. Maximum score is an Army Engineer Officer evaluation. But here's the end, okay? This is your chance to change your whole trajectory. Take the next step. Please click the subscribe button now for many more value-added videos. Schedule a discovery call with me at Rapid Lean Coach, or go to the website rapidleancoach.com/contact/, and there's a little form you can fill out with your name and your company and your email and your whatever specific question you might have just to kick off the conversation. The live links aren't in the video. The live links are below the video, so go down there. So I'm really looking forward to working with you, whatever choice you make, but I'm always here available at the email to answer any questions or help you in any way that I can. We'll see you on the other side.